everyone. I hope that you are having a wonderful, beautiful Sunday afternoon. Um, I would like to start with a challenge of who can spot Maslow in this picture. Wait for it. Yes, she's always there, always giving feedback. Um, I do want you guys to know I feel like you are doing a really excellent job starting to advocate for gifted students. It's always kind of this time of the semester where I notice my students are starting to think, wait, why are our gifted kids not well served? And that is definitely something that we really need to continually challenge ourselves with, and especially as advocates for gifted education, which is really what you guys are becoming. It's really important that you continue to fight for that. So I'm in the midst of reading your discussion post from last week, and I really appreciate a lot of the examples that you are giving to make this issue more concrete. I hear a lot of you saying, well, we're not denying gifted or education rather to children who are English language learners, or we're not denying this special education to students who have some form of learning disability. Then why are we at times actually denying the exact same thing to our gifted children? And I think that's a really excellent point, and one that we really need to grapple with in terms of our educational system. And I also would like to point out several different discussion posts that referenced the importance of educating other teachers about gifted students. I'm sorry, the train is passing me here. Um, Very few future educators receive formal training in what gifted education should really look like, and definitely in what gifted characteristics looks like. So we have a lot of implicit theories or implicit beliefs. Some researchers would call that implicit bias concerning what it means to be gifted. And if we don't really address that, then we have some major issues. So I just wanted to say good job on starting to really progress beyond just this is what giftedness is and start to asking yourselves those more difficult questions. So a couple of things, and I'll write this as well, but a few things I wanted to mention. So for the past discussion board, I haven't graded it yet for a reason. I want you guys to go back and make sure that you're responding to that discussion post correctly. So that discussion post really needs to be backed up by the library materials. This is not what you personally believe gifted education to be, a right or a privilege. This is what the law is saying, what is actually true. It's really hard to parse out the difference between what the law says and what we personally believe. And that's probably because you guys are all in this gifted education course, so we care about it. So this discussion post really needed to be cut and dry. This is what the library resources say. So I'm going to leave that open and give you guys the opportunity to go back and maybe adjust that if you feel like that would be a better fit. So I'll give you probably until Wednesday to go back and make those adjustments. Another adjustment I'm making is very minor, but your syllabus says that the assignment for today is a debate on gifted education being a right or privilege. And I want to change that to, it's already posted, more of a personal philosophy of gifted education. So I want this week, for once, I'm telling you, you do not have to reference the library materials. And I want you to think really critically about what you consider to be important for gifted and talented students. So this gifted philosophy statement is probably going to feel different than a lot of the other assignments we do in this class. This is very open-ended, and I really want to hear your personal beliefs. So a couple of questions that you need to make sure you address in this, and these are of course also posted on Blackboard. I want you to tell me, who are the gifted in the first place? So you don't need to quote anything here unless you want to prescribe to an existing definition. That's totally fine. But tell me, who are the gifted? What services should be provided by the gift or for the gifted rather? Who is responsible for providing these services? And lastly, what is the role of both the gifted teacher and the regular education teacher in serving the gifted? So this is your opportunity, guys. I know that it's hard in this kind of class to put our personal beliefs aside and just start looking at what the law says and what the practices are, this week is all about what you believe. So I want you to think critically. You are becoming more and more educated in what it means to be gifted, and now is your chance to really speak out. So if you have experience like I do, I had an experience. Actually, it was myself in third grade. I missed the gifted education program by 1/10 of a point. And that moment was really actually pretty impactful for my education. Probably one of the reasons why I study gifted education now. I had another moment in sixth grade when I was in an honors class, and that teacher told me to my face that it would be a waste for me to become a teacher because I was, quote, too gifted. So things like that impact my personal philosophy of gifted education. They impact what I believe to be gifted. That personal experience with the cutoff score tells me that I don't think giftedness can just be defined by a cutoff score. When I think about the responsibility of regular education teachers, I think about that teacher who was working with me in an honors class and told me not to go for my dream for education, and how there's so much wrapped up in that in terms of how are we encouraging our gifted students to pursue what their talents are, even if they're not, quote, the high achieving jobs that we often attribute. So those are just two very personal examples to kind of get you thinking on that. So again, you have two action items now. The first is go back to your previous discussion post. So make sure that that post is very driven by the resources in the library. Are you confident that you're not giving your personal opinion in that post, but rather you're giving your library informed opinion on that? So I need to see lots of resources there and refrain from saying I believe in that discussion post. So that's item number one. Number two, for this week, we are digging into that personal philosophy statement. Just to reiterate, that is replacing the gifted education debate that was originally on the syllabus. And for this personal philosophy statement, that's when I want to hear your personal beliefs. Who are these gifted people? What services should they be provided with? And who is responsible for providing those services. So I'm looking forward to looking at the difference between this is my library informed response and here's your opportunity to get on your soapbox and tell me what you really think, and don't be afraid to give some personal experiences if you think that would make it more powerful. So I hope you're having a wonderful week. Again, I'm always here if you want to come by my office and talk or set up any kind of conference online as well. I'd be happy to do that. All right, have a wonderful week, and I'm looking forward to reading those statements.